you all for tuning in. Again, thank you, Go Home Wrestling Show, for the host. Much appreciated as always. And again, thank you all for tuning in, interacting in the chat. It's been a good day. Definitely been a good day. So just a couple quick things, and then we'll get into the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view coming up tonight, live on the WWE Network. This Carmella and Corey Graves situation is it's one that's really I don't want to say. I think the timing of this news coming out is very, very bad timing. It's bad timing because you had the Uso incident, with Jimmy Uso and Naomi, and you had it just wasn't good timing. And the only reason why this is like big news is because they're both in the spotlight. Corey Graves obviously broadcasts on Raw and SmackDown Live and pay-per-views. Like he's on every show pretty much. Him and Nigel McGuinness are the two hardest working commentators on WWE right now. Where Corey's got 2 shows a week, live 2 shows a week, plus the pay-per-views. Then you have Nigel that does 205 Live. He does NXT UK plus takeovers, which now goes to NXT UK takeover and the regular NXT brand. But Corey, I mean, I'm not going to get into the detail of it, because if anybody really wants to get into the details of it, you can go online and take a look. Basically, his wife, or now his estranged wife, however you want to put it out there that Corey had been sleeping with Carmella. Where everyone's making the jokes of, I'm guilty of it too. I'm surprised it wasn't Mandy Rose. And she, because obviously he's all head over heels for her on commentary, and people even online would be like, dude, you're married, you have kids, it's that, like being that head over heels for a talent on screen. And it turns out that he is head over heels, and I don't mean to laugh, this is a serious thing. Head over heels for a talent on the roster. And it's actually kind of sad because, he's married, 3 kids, and, False Finish Productions, and they're friends of the show as well, they had posted something from Goodfellas. I think it's Goodfellas, where the wife of this guy is ringing this girl's doorbell and screaming, oh, I'm going to tell everyone in this building that 2R is nothing but a whore and whatever. Everybody makes that's the one thing with social media. Everybody has their comments that they can make, and they do. Obviously, they do make the comments. They do make their opinions heard, and a lot of times, But the reality of it is, because neither Carmella or Corey, as of this broadcast live, have come out with anything in defense of themselves, in defense of the other person. Actually, let me just check right now on my Twitter feed, because Corey Graves is very active on Twitter. Last tweet Graves had posted, which is 22 hours ago. I think my best quality in life is my ability to make laundry smell fresh for a week after I fold it. And Carmella, probably nothing, probably something really stupid too. Just retweeting some stuff that people have posted about her, I guess. So nobody has really done anything in defending one another on social media or anything else of that sort. And Corey Graves, he seems like a very sensitive person, because between the CM Punk rant that he went on with Punk during the UFC, his latest UFC fight, and between, what was the latest one that he just had? He had another like meltdown, and on TV he comes off cool, calm, collected, agitated, easily agitated, which is obviously also broadcasted while on the air. And yeah, nothing really new. I will say though that I don't believe it should, nor do I think it will affect any of their positions in the company. It almost seems like Corey Graves on the microphone at least is very much relied upon. Obviously, if he's broadcasting 2 live shows a week plus the pay-per-views, obviously there's a need for him on television, and they view him as an asset. Otherwise, they wouldn't be having him so prominently out there as part of their broadcast team. And you look at the incident that happened with Bray Wyatt and JoJo, pretty much the exact same thing. It didn't affect either of their jobs at first, and now Bray has not been on TV for whatever reason. They say injury, which McMahon kind of put out there that he's injured during that shareholders call, which is BS. And now this. So, geez, imagine if he was in ECW or something back in those days, but social media then was the way it is now. He would have been buried by that Philadelphia crowd. I don't know where they're going to be for the pay-per-view today, offhand, but it's a casual fan. They're not really going to be a smart ass like a smart crowd would be. But then again, who knows? We'll see what happens with their employment or their use on TV going forward. Since Carmella was super over with R-Truth, and I don't think it should affect their employment or how they're used. I don't think it will affect how they're employed or used. I will say, though, really shitty on both of their parts, considering it's public knowledge and has been public knowledge, especially with the, I think it was ESPN special where they had Graves featured, and he had to give his wife the call of, I can't wrestle anymore, because he was a wrestler in NXT, for those who don't know, and he was hurt, and he had a series of injuries that did not allow him to wrestle anymore. And that's the part of it that really is messed up from Carmella's end. I mean, they're both in the wrong here, don't get me wrong, but Carmella, Corey's a married man, and you still did stuff with him. I think she should have been the bigger person in this situation and just kind of say no. But I guess not. And Corey should obviously have kept it in his pants. So it changes my opinion of them as people, as talent. It doesn't change my mind. Their personal way, their personal lives, and their on-screen personas should be viewed as two separate entities. But like I said, changed my opinion of them as people, not necessarily as a talent. I don't think it'll affect their job. I don't think it should. But we'll see as time goes on. Tonight's actually going to be very interesting for that regard, too, and see how things turn out. And between the Usos, between this, it's going to be a weird day. It's going to really be a weird night on pay-per-view, especially if you're really paying attention to this sort of thing. That's all I have to say about that. But let's jump to the Undertaker really quick. The Undertaker's wrestling career is over, according to WrestleTalk. The Andy Datson of WrestleTalk. Let's see. The Undertaker. Again, I like to read. I haven't read this article. I haven't taken a look at it past the title. Like I say on the show many a times, I like to read these articles live with you, so that this way you get my live reaction with it too. And of course, if you want to react to it as well, you're more than welcome to. So we have that. Let's see. The Undertaker wrestled last wrestled a match for the WWE at the Crown Jewel show in Saudi Arabia, which I can't believe they're even doing 3 more of those. It's such a bullshit deal. In November of last year, but there was no hint at the end of the match that it was the end for the Phenom. Many had assumed he had retired at WrestleMania 33 after losing to Roman Reigns and leaving his gear in the ring, but as we all know, that simply wasn't the case. And like I said on the show recently, I still consider that as the Undertaker's last match. I don't care what he did after it. The WrestleMania match or squashing of Cena, the 2 Saudi shows, anything. I don't consider any of that as matches or anything that he's worked. On paper, it'll say otherwise. But as a fan, WrestleMania was his last match against Roman Reigns. Period. Now, though, we really may have seen the last of him in a wrestling capacity, as Dave Meltzer is reporting that The Undertaker's wrestling career is now over. Speaking about the surprise announcement that Taker will be at StarCast on Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer said, quote, "People have a tough time understanding that WWE doesn't control people's lives, especially with someone like The Undertaker. He worked there for years and years, more like closer to 30 to be quite precise, and his wrestling contract is over. It's done with." He went on to explain, end quote, and he went on to explain that a lot of legends have a contract that states when their wrestling career is over, they are free to take bookings with anyone they like while still having a close affiliation. Taker has been confirmed for a number of appearances at different events already, including StarCast, so this really could be it. WWE are likely to keep trying to lure him back into the ring with bigger and bigger money promises, but this is the first time we've seen this kind of behavior from The Undertaker, so perhaps the Crown Jewel match was enough to convince him that it was time to stop, which I agree with 100% because that match was awful from so many angles. Between Triple H getting injured, so he really was working at 50%, if that at best. You have Kane, who can't really move anymore. You have Undertaker, who can't move at all, despite his surgeries to correct injuries. Even at WrestleMania 33, you knew it was the end. Now, people, and I've had this conversation with people, they'll tell me, well, 30 was it. And I